Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. What's my volume saying? The volume is all right still. How are we, YouTube? How are you doing, YouTube? It is time for the live. We will be doing another live as very important topic today, inshallah. Samsung J7, Sister Dracula, yeah. Shout out to the thumbnail for that one. How we doing, guys? Hit that like on your way in, inshallah. I'm a bit tired today, I'm not going to lie to you. Been a long old day, and yeah, but we've got some important work to get through. We've got an important article that I'm going to be reacting to today, and I wanted to react to it live, so that you guys can get my live feedback on it if you like. Yeah, tamam. I'm going to put a link in the chat right now. If you would like to join the discussion after I have reacted to this article, you are welcome to. You are welcome to do so. You know what? I had a mad leg session today. Mad, it's completely drained me, man. Absolutely drained me. Like the fifth set in, I was ready to tap out, and I had another flipping 25 sets left. And flipping drained me. I do squats and deadlifts on the same day, so that I can take out, because I used to do weights 5 times a week, and it was just, I have other things that I want to do, like cardio and then obviously work. So I decided to squat and deadlift on the same day. And what I found was if I deadlift immediately after squatting, I don't have to warm up on a deadlift. I can go straight to my working sets. So that's useful, but it does take it out of you big time, especially when you've got high volume squat and deadlift sessions back to back. So I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm a bit drained. I have downed dinner and a Red Bull to get me through this, inshallah ta'ala. But we have some important work to get through. There's some important work to get through today. As I said, there is a link in the chat right now. This link will enable you, I should say, to join the conversation, and I will keep you backstage until we have completed reacting to this topic. Do your boy a solid. If you enjoy the type of content that you see me putting out here, please like the video. Jazakallahu khair. Over 50% of you are not subscribed to the channel. That is absolutely beyond me, guys. If you watch my stuff, do your boy a solid and sub the channel. You know what? I got a confession to make. I used to be against subscribing to channels as well. I felt like, oh, I'm going to become a follower. And then I realized, you know what? If I am benefiting from that individual's content, let me do the boy a solid and like his channel. Subscribe to his channel, sorry. So make sure you sub the channel, guys. Jazakumullah khair. SpongeBob, alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Tawsif, alhamdulillah, bro. Honor, assalamu alaikum. Sam, what's going on, bro? Saleh, I'm glad you speak about these topics because we don't hear about this in the Muslim community. Alhamdulillah, akhi. Alhamdulillah, barakallahu feek. Functional training is what needed. And you know what? I'm going to address this real quick. I love it when people say, I do functional training. I don't do regular gym exercises. It makes me laugh because it just means you're weak. If you don't do the bread and butter compound exercises, it's it's another excuse for I'm piss weak. That's why I don't do them. And I'll prove it to you. All athletes of all stripes, even swimmers, all of them, bench press, squat, deadlift, all of them without exception. I actually reposted on my story, I think it was yesterday, Islam Makhachev, the UFC fighter, of him doing a 1 rep max squat. What's it called? Seat squat? What's the word? Chair squat, something along those lines. I forget the name now. It's where you squat down with an extremely heavy weight on your back and you sit on a stool or a chair, lean all the way back, and then get back up. All athletes of all stripes, doesn't matter what it is, acrobatics, swimming, gymnastics, skiing, you name it, they all implement heavy resistance training through the use of compound exercises of some sort. Now, does that mean that you should only do that and nothing else? No, of course not. That's where you will become stiff and dysfunctional. But if you are not at least bench press, squat, deadlift, pull-ups, and overhead pressing, You are piss weak. I don't care what you say. And you will be destroyed, absolutely destroyed in any form of competitive environment, in any competition, whether it's martial arts, whether it's running, whether it's swimming. You will be destroyed by the one who does implement those exercises into their routines. And for those of you who think I might be just talking out my backside, no, I studied sports and exercise science. I have a BSc, Bachelor of Science degree in sports and exercise science. So I speak from a position of a low level of authority, shall we say. I am by no means an expert, but most of my young adult life was dedicated towards sports and exercise science, understanding that field, that realm. I am a sports aficionado myself. I have a black belt in karate, alhamdulillah. I swam to a high level competitively. I played rugby to a mediocre level, nothing special there, to be fair. So I kind of have a good idea and have my pulse on what is required to excel in sports. So if you think that you can eliminate gym training or even just body weight exercises, well, that's better than nothing. That's better than nothing. For example, press ups, pull ups, that's good. But ultimately, if you want to get strong, savage strong, if you want to be able to pick a man up when you're in the ring or the octagon and really he can feel that strength through your body, you are going to have to utilize and integrate compound exercises in your workout. There is no way around it. There's no way around it. And if you don't, that's fine. But it just means you're going to be weak. So that's what I've got to say on that. Come on, let's continue. Make sure you like that video on the way in, guys. Chrome tab. All right, here we go. Bismillah. You can see that, right? So the title of this post was, I'm 29. I feel like I'm at the bottom of my fiance's, who is 26, priority list after I paid off her $75,000 debt. Lo and behold. And don't think, by the way, you might be thinking, oh, these are non-Muslims, it doesn't apply to us. Don't be so naive. Don't be so vain as well, by the way. Don't be so naive and don't be so vain. And I will explain to you how it does apply to even Muslims as well. Tamam? Let's get into this. All right. Switch this on, switch that off. I don't want to see comments right now. All right. Now to start. I am a pretty laid back guy. I don't care when my fiance Hannah goes out with her friends or does whatever. But for the last few months, I really feel like I have taken a backseat to her priorities. I wonder why. Adam Khan, wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My man, how you doing now? Hannah has been in some deep financial ish for years. I, however, received a very large inheritance that has me financially set for the rest of my life. But I still work because I worked really hard to get my medical license and because I love what I do. Shout out to you. Whoever this gentleman is, shout out to you. Good for you. Now, the problem is when you receive a very large sum of money and you yourself did not earn that money, oftentimes you don't know what to do with it and the shoe doesn't fit and it can cause more problems than it can solve. The shoe is too big. It's one of the reasons why I can't remember the exact number, but a large majority of lottery winners lose it all within 5 years. They are back down to zero within 5 years, even if they've won like a super lotto, millions. They're still back down to zero within 5 years. Which means what? When you are suddenly given a large lump sum of money that you yourself did not have to earn, did not have to exert brain power to earn, you have more opportunities to do more foolish things, as Henry Ford once said. That a man is often afforded the opportunity to make more foolish decisions when he is given more money. I'm going to get into it now. So, needless to say, I do very well financially. And I helped out my fiance a little bit here and there whilst we were just boyfriend and girlfriend. But once we got engaged, I did a real big overhaul of her financial debt. She went from being $75,000 in debt to being 100% debt free and owning a car. I was happy to do it as we are spending our lives together. And once that was solid, I went ahead and pulled the trigger. Okay, let's unpack this. First of all, it concerns a man's masculine pride from his fitra. Fitra is to want to provide for a woman, is to want to give. I've mentioned this before. Men are givers, women are receivers. Even sexually, men give, women receive. Men are givers, women are receivers. So most men, I'm speaking broadly now with a broad brush, most men want to give. They want to give. It brings us happiness to spend on our family. The problem is this can be manipulated to a woman's advantage if you yourself are not savvy in your giving and savvy in your vetting, for that matter. And speaking of vetting, if you haven't already purchased AbuAmerican's vetting guide and you are considering getting married, you have lost your mind. You can find the link to his vetting guide in the description. Do yourself a favor and save yourself 75,000 freaking dollars by investing $90 on his vetting guide. You can find that in the description right now. I helped out my okay, we've been through that. Right. Lately, though, I feel like her priorities are in the following order. Number 1, friends. Number 2, her hobbies. Number 3, work. Number 4, family, not including me. And number 5, food. And number 6, me. Lo and behold, as soon as her financial problems have been settled and solved, suddenly he places 6th after food in her priority list. She has reduced the time seeing me to once a week. We don't live together yet, as we are building a home together and our individual leases aren't up until the home is finished. And I have asked her that I would really like to hang out with her more. Mistake number 1.
This is number 1 bullshit. Are you sick in the mind? Are you that mentally enslaved and intellectually subservient and intellectually molested and ideologically molested?
You might think that's a bit of a harsh soundbite. He just wants to spend a bit more time with her, Mahdi. What's the problem? I'm going to tell you what the problem is. The moment you come off as necessitous to a woman, that you are in need of her, that you are needy of her, whether it's her company or whatever the case may be, you are needy of her, this will offend her feminine sensibilities. A woman wants to need you whilst she wants you to want her. There is a big difference. She wants to need you because she knows she does. Her survival is dependent upon you, or at least it used to be. And you can't just undo, just because women now live in a day and age whereby technically she doesn't need any one man. But up until very recently, a woman's life was dependent upon a man, which means women need men. I have addressed this ad infinitum on my previous podcast. We're not going to go into it again. Look outside your window, have a look at the street, have a look at the cars, have a look at the street lamps, have a look at the concrete, have a look at the housing, the building, the shops, the scaffolding, etc. Which one of those were created by a man? The drainage, the sewage, the bin man, the bins, on and on and on. They have all been built and are maintained by men. Women will die without men. They will not reach the end of their natural lives without a man. I've addressed this ad infinitum. Okay? Now, his reaction is natural and normal, but it's going to make his situation worse, as you are about to find out. The moment you come off as needy, as, oh, baby, can you spend a little bit more time with me? I'm feeling like you're not prioritizing me. You've lost frame. She should be the one asking you to spend more time with her because you are too busy on your purpose, on whatever it is that you do. That's a feminine request. She should be the one pulling on your arm and saying, baby, can you spend more time with me? And so on. If she's not doing that, and worse than that, if you are the one doing that or saying that, you're in a big problem. You've completely lost frame, and you're in her frame for that matter. And there is a more deeper underlying issue. And that deeper underlying issue is, why does she not want to spend time with you in the first place? And where is she choosing to spend that time instead? Very important questions, gentlemen. Let's continue with the article. She's reduced the time to seeing me to once a week. And I've asked her that I would really like to hang out with her more. She just blames it on her busy schedule or says, sure, but it really just doesn't happen.
This is #1 bullshit.
She's lying. I'm telling you now, she's lying. When she says, right here, she blames it on her busy schedule, that's a lie. A woman who wants to be around a man, wants his company, enjoys it, needs his attention. She will break rules to see him. Yes, she will take a day off work to see him. She will cancel plans with her girlfriends. She will break and bend and bust all the rules for you just to be in your company. Just to be in your company. At any time, don't think this wears off, by the way. If she's in your frame, this could happen at any time, even after many years of marriage. If the situation was required, if you required her to, for whatever the reason may be, baby, I need you to come out and see me. Something's going on. Oh, but baby, I'm at work. I need you to come out right now. She will come out on the double if she's in your frame. And if she's not, she won't. Now, alhamdulillah, Islam, wallahi, puts a limit on, we have rules and regulations and restrictions in place. A woman must obey her husband. You see, beautiful. It keeps these hypergamous tendencies in check, the negative aspect of hypergamy, where a woman is constantly on the lookout for a better option. It keeps them in check. It keeps it fettered. Hence the beauty of having divine rules and regulations that have been revealed from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in our religion of Islam. It keeps it all in check. But when you don't have that, you rely purely on frame. And is it doable? Yes, it's doable, but it's hard. It's harder. It's harder. You have to, finesse your game better and so on. Anyways, he is in her frame. He's lost frame. And if I had to guess, and it's not clear from the article why she has suddenly lost interest, other than he's paid off her debt. But if I had to guess, because he could have paid off her debt and she could still really love him and be in his frame and want to be around him. If I had to guess, my man is simping. Plain and simple. He's simping. He's needy. He's, being necessitous. And she doesn't like it for whatever reason. It always comes back down to the guy. I have to be honest with you. But sometimes you do come across a genuinely rotten apple and, there's nothing you can do for her. But for the most part, it tends to come back down to the guy. You've lost frame in some way, shape, or form. And as a result, this is the situation you find yourself in. She decided to take her nieces out when we had plans. But instead of inviting me along, she just said she would let me know when we could hang out this week. But she named off all of these things. She named off all of these things she has going on all week, and then stuff with her friends. She is putting up roadblocks and obstacles and things in the way so that she doesn't have to deal with him. Point blank, period. She's making excuses because she doesn't want to have to deal with him for whatever reason. She feels too bad, too guilty about cutting him off completely because he's just paid off her debt. Or she's thinking to herself, you know what? I can't burn that bridge because my man's got quite a lot of money still. So let me go and rack up another debt so I can get my man to pay it off. One of the two. I feel like I have nagged. Big mistake.
Shut up, Youre. Now it's Obama.
Any form of nagging from a man, this is female behavior. It's feminine behavior. This feminine traits. Women nag. Men are not meant to nag. Stoic qualities are associated with a man. With a man's man, at least, I should say. Nagging is associated with women. If you are having to nag as a man, you are basically begging her for her attention and time. This is a problem. This is a big problem. You're begging her for her time. I feel like I have nagged her to the bone. And let me tell you something, by the way, from the many perversities of human nature, is that the more you nag for something, the more you beg for something, the less likely you are to get it. flip that around. The less you want something, or at least the less you show you want it, the more likely you are to get it. This dynamic plays itself out in negotiations of all sorts all the time. The one who shows less, is less necessitous and more willing to walk away from the deal, tends to be the one who has the leverage, because he makes the other person think, wow, this guy's really willing to walk away from the deal. That must mean he really does have something special. Because if he didn't, he would be really clingy and needy to me and want my money. But he's not. He's prepared to walk away from this deal. That must mean that what he has to offer is of genuine value, gentlemen. And women know it. When a man is willing to walk away, and don't get it twisted now, I'm not saying to threaten your wife with divorce every 2 minutes. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is he is willing, he's what's the word I'm looking for? He is willing to keep the initiative by being willing to walk away if she crosses his boundaries. Yes. Yeah, I'm trying to choose my words carefully here. If she crosses the certain boundaries, certain limits, certain lines, he's willing to walk away. This could be before marriage. This could be after marriage. If she breaks, puts a foot, a toe, a nail across that unforgivable level or that unforgivable line, he's willing to walk away. And if you're willing to walk away, you maintain leverage in the situation. He who is willing to commit suicide has the initiative. You've heard me say this before. He who is willing to commit suicide has the initiative. He who is willing to walk away from the deal, he who is willing to pull the plug on the relationship, he who is willing to turn their back has the initiative. You as a man must be the one who is willing to turn their back, especially in an intimate relationship. Whether it's your girlfriend or wife, I don't care. He who is willing to turn their back maintains the initiative. That must be you, gentlemen, for those of you watching right now. And for the ninja sisters watching in the background who never comment, but I know you're there because YouTube analytics tell me you are. Over 25% of my audience are women. Like the video, sisters. Sub the channel. Barakallahu feekum. I do consultations for sisters as well, by the way. I had one with a sister just the other day. Hit me up on Gmail. I can give you some proper advice. It's going to hurt you. I'm not going to tell you things that you like, but I will help you. Medicine is bitter. Let's continue. So I feel like I've nagged her to the bone in a nice way and also abrasive ways that I don't feel like a priority. Oh, Lord, give me strength. This is something your woman should be saying to you. Baby, I don't feel like a priority in your life. How many times have I heard that? Yes, because for the most part, you're not a priority. I love my wife. You know, I really love my wife. But I'm sorry, she's not the priority most of the time. Most of the time, she's not. Every now and again, we go out. We have a nice time. I have an evening lined up with my wife this weekend on Saturday, inshallah ta'ala. But for the most part, she is not a priority. And she knows it. And does she like it? No, she doesn't like it. She doesn't like it. She doesn't like it, to be honest with you. Sammy, hit me up on Gmail, theredmahdi@gmail.com. She doesn't like it. Actually, it upsets her a lot sometimes, to be quite honest with you. I'm being frank with you. She doesn't like it. Mahdi, you need to prioritize me more. Shut up. I got work to do. You're not the priority. Point blank, period. I love my wife. Don't get it twisted. I really do. But she has to understand I need to be taking care of, handling business firstly and foremostly before anything. And after that, it's the children. And then after that, it's my wife in a distant third. Distant third. That doesn't mean I deprive her of her rights or anything like that, or I treat her like crap. Nope. I love my wife. And I treat her well, alhamdulillah. I like to think I do. I treat her well. But she is not the priority. That's how it should be. She should be chasing your attention, gentlemen, your validation, not you chasing her attention and her validation. And if it's happening that way around, there's a big problem. You've lost frame. You're not prioritizing your life properly. You've got issues. You got issues. We need to have a conversation. Message me. Hit me up on Instagram. Right. So I feel like I've nagged her to the bone in a nice way and also abrasive ways that I don't feel like a priority, that I'm being put on the back burner. But if she wants okay, pay attention now. Pay attention now, ladies and gentlemen. If she wants something, or money, then I am suddenly just her angel. Allahu Akbar. Joking, fam. Joking. And I guarantee you, my man is like chomping at the bit for this opportunity to please her. Big mistake. Natural reaction, natural human reaction. Somebody who has been cold towards you suddenly shows warmth towards you. You want to make the most of that. No. That's your opportunity to check that ish immediately. One time. I really recommend you guys to read The Laws of Human Nature by Robert Greene. The Art of Seduction by him as well, for that matter. It's a bit of a sinister read, but there are some gems in there. But The Laws of Human Nature by Robert Greene. There are so many paradoxical, harsh realities when it comes to dealing with humans. But once you get to grips with dealing with humans, understanding the oxymoron behaviors that human beings have, quite illogical sometimes. Once you get a grip on it, you will know how to get the best out of human beings in general, whether it's in the workplace, whether it's in amongst your friends, whether it's in your relationship. You will know. Laws of Human Nature by Robert Greene. Don't just read that book, study that book. The Art of Seduction as well, but it is a sinister read. Okay. I'm about to lose my ish. I'm not cool with spending 4 hours a week with my fiance. She knows this, but apparently it doesn't sink in. It's like she got the money she needed, and now I am just her piggy bank. Yes, that's exactly what you are. Last time we hung out, she was grouchy from a bad day. And before I even said hello, she said she doesn't have the energy for sex tonight. We had just sat down for dinner. I can see someone backstage, MOHDZ, but your devices are not connected. I will not be able to bring you on. You need to connect your device, your audio device. Make sure you got it all set up. I'll be bringing you on in a second. Every week for the last 3 weeks, I have mentioned that I want to see her more than once a week. Big mistake. Once again, you are being the necessitous one. You are being the one who is being needy. You're the one who's being needy towards her. It's a big mistake. And let me tell you something. Another fantastic book, phenomenal book. How can I forget this book? How can I forget this? That I recommend all of you read, The Passion Trap. A phenomenal read that will explain to you in great detail these paradoxical laws of, not laws, these paradoxical tendencies that happen in relationships. When one person shows a bit too much interest in another individual, I might have to do a book review on this, When one individual shows too much interest in another person, that first person can start to feel suffocated and begin to withdraw, trying to get their space back, their personal space. But the problem is, once they withdraw, this one here who was showing them attention now becomes even more emotionally unstable and thinks to himself, typically, but it can happen to women as well, but typically thinks to himself, oh, she's withdrawing. I need to do what? I need to show her even more attention. Mistake number 2. Massive mistake. So what do? You buy her more flowers. You buy her more gifts. You take her out to these swanky places, thinking that the more I spend on her, the more likely I am to win her back. And all the while, whilst you are showering her with your affection and your undying love and your poetry and your flowers and your holidays and all the rest of it, she is, at least internally in her heart, withdrawing away from you more and more and more and more and more. That's what's called the passion trap. I forget the name of the author now, but that's the passion trap. It used to be called the passion paradox. It's now called the passion trap, the title of the book. And that's the paradox. The more you shower her with affection and attention, the more she will withdraw away from you. And the more she withdraws away from you, the more you want to shower her with attention and affection. And the more she will withdraw from you even further, on and on and on and on and on. Until she gets mixed up with Tyrone. Yeah? She gets mixed up with Tyrone, who's emotionally unavailable and shines a polarizing difference in emotional states between you and him, and she thinks to herself, wow, this man is so not needy. There must be something special about him. There's something about that. I need to find out. Why is he so full? Why is he so content? How is he so happy independent of the result he gets from me? He's content. Just like at a business negotiation, when you're negotiating at the business table, if you're willing to turn your back on a deal, that person's going to look at you and think, how is this person happy to walk away? Clearly, he must have something special if he's willing to hold on to it. You see this in poker all the time. It's called calling your bluff. Sometimes you really don't, but you've got to put that front anyways. Gentlemen, I talk frequently about the importance of speaking to multiple sisters at the same time. When it comes to marriage, I don't care if it's your first wife, second, third, you got to be speaking. If you're looking to get married, you got to have multiple sisters, multiple women, and let them know about it as well. I don't care. I had one brother messing me up. He's like, I'm speaking to 12 sisters at the same time. I was like, salute, brother. That's exactly how it should be. Will they like it? No. Will it make them want you more? Yes. You will become more desirable. Why? Because if lots of people want you, if lots of women want you, it must mean there's something special about you. It makes you more desirable. Does it add an element of anxiety? Yes, it does. Does it irritate them and annoy them? Do they wish they could feel more secure? Yes, they do. Should you give them that? Hell no. She needs to know she's in competition. This is a competition, and the prize is me. You, gentlemen. You are the prize. Put her in competition. Oh, baby, my heart is just for you. I'd never want to marry again. What? Sometimes I think to myself, like, imagine like the companions could hear this nonsense talk. No, brother, I never want to marry again. I couldn't do that to my wife. Fam, really? Are you serious? First of all, you're lying. Stop lying, fam. Don't lie. Even if you have a good woman, alhamdulillah, you still want to be able to have sexual access with as many women as you can. And Allah has put a cap on it with wives, 4 wives. But in certain situations, we have concubines. You can take as many of those as you can afford to look after. Stop the cap, bro. Honestly.
Stop the cap. No bullshit, bro. This is #1 bullshit.
Stop capping. Somebody put a blue cap in the chat. Every week for the last 3 weeks, I've mentioned that I want to see her more than once a week, and she agrees, but never follows through. I'm getting to the point where I feel ignored. Doesn't this feel like a woman wrote this? Gentlemen, doesn't this feel like a woman wrote this? She texts me and calls me plenty, but when it comes to actual real-life interaction, I am slowly being pushed out of her life. All right, there's another very important learning point here. When it comes to real life interaction, I am slowly being pushed out of her life. Excuse me. Alhamdulillah. Wake up and smell the coffee, for crying out loud. You see, men recognize this on some level, like I'm doing all of this and yet I'm getting pushed out of her life. And yet we'll still continue. Yeah, exactly, Sammy. Precisely. Who will say no to Holy? Exactly. Will still continue to try even harder to please her. He understands that I've been doing all of this, making all of this effort, buying her all of these gifts, taking her to all these places, and yet she's showing less interest in me. What should I do now to try and mix things up? I know. I'll buy her more stuff. I'll spend more on her. I'll take her to even swankier places. That's some bro calculation right there. That's a bro calculation. What you need to do is something that you will be naturally uncomfortable with, but it will work. Turn your back on her. Turn your back on her. And you need to genuinely accept the possibility that she could leave. Genuinely. She might just leave. But let me tell you something. The most likely way for her to come back is by you turning your nose on her, freezing her out a little bit. Give her that space to come back to you. Give her that room to come back to you. Stop this spending, gentlemen. Simping. Stop this simping. Point blank period. I really don't like the word simp. I'm gonna be honest with you. It's been so overused. It's a bit cringy now. But that's what it is. She doesn't say I love you anymore. I can't even remember the last time she complimented me. Wow. Yeah, she probably doesn't love him. And she's finding it hard to express that, even lie about it. And let me tell you something, gentlemen, as well. When a woman is preparing to exit a relationship, you will be caught off guard. You will most probably, and hit that like if you're finding value in this stream right now, make sure you hit the like and sub the channel. Jazakumullah khair. If a woman is preparing to exit a relationship, it will most probably catch you off guard. It will most probably catch you off guard, because at the moment when she is about to leave, you will be thinking to yourself, things are getting better. I'll tell you why. When a woman has had it with her husband or boyfriend, when she's completely had it, she's completely done for whatever reason, rightly or wrongly, justified or not is irrelevant. When she's completely had it with her other half, she stops caring. She stops caring. She no longer cares about the grievances that once used to bother her. She doesn't care about them anymore. She doesn't give two shits anymore about the grievances she once had. And you will be thinking to yourself, alhamdulillah, peace at last. She stopped bothering me. She stopped messaging me. She stopped nagging me. Peace at last. Things must be getting better between us. Nothing could be further from the truth. Actually, what has happened to her is now she doesn't care. You're like a stranger to her. For all she cares, it could have been some next random dude ignoring her or whatever. She doesn't care. You're nothing to her anymore. You're nobody to her. You're dead in her heart. Now it's just a matter of formalities. She's just taking care of setting up her next move, making sure that she can land on her feet. That might take days, weeks, months, possibly even years. Maybe she'll wait for the kids to grow up. Some women do that. Some women fall out of love with their husbands, no longer care anymore. Don't bother him. He's thinking there's peace. And she's just there for the children. Once the youngest child hits 16 or 18 or 14, she's like, right, I'm out. I'm done. I've seen this happen. I've seen women leave their marriages after, like, women that I grew up with looking at as aunties, after 25 years of marriage, 30 years of marriage, sometimes even longer. The youngest child grew up, was a young adult, she's gone. She's like, I've done my bit, I'm out. And I'm not making judgment here. Maybe some of them had just genuine justification. Maybe some of them didn't. I don't know. I don't know what goes on behind closed doors in their relationships. But I see it. It happens. But best trust and believe that she was preparing that move for a minute. For a hot minute, she was preparing that move. She was getting ready to make that move. She was done with her husband. When a woman stops caring, gentlemen, she stops raising issues with you that used to cause her pain and grievance. I know we want peace, but I'm simply saying, if you have noticed a sudden shift and she is indifferent, completely indifferent, there's cause for concern here. Now, what should you do? Should you start sucking up to her? No, you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't do that, because now you're just simply speeding up the process of you losing her. But you should at least be aware of the dynamic that's going on. Maybe sit down, have a conversation, maybe get an arbitrator, find out what's going on. Something's going on. Something's about to go down. And when women leave, by the way, they have a tendency of leaving suddenly, like middle of the night suddenly as well, just to catch you off guard without notice. No notice whatsoever. Right. All right, listen, there's a link in the chat. I'm going to be wrapping this up real soon. There's a link in the chat right now. If you want to join the conversation, you want to ask me a question on the discussion. Maybe you're in a relationship right now with your wife and your wife has suddenly gone cold on you. Sisters, maybe you're in a relationship with your husband and your love has died for him. Had a consultation with a sister the other day. She said those very words to me. She said to me, is it weird that I don't feel anything for my husband anymore? Those were her words. Is it weird? Is it weird that I don't love him. I just don't feel anything for him. Big trouble. That brother is on a timer. And they got kids together. He's on a timer. When a woman reaches that point, gentlemen, that's it. It's done. It's finished. Khair. Let's have a look at these questions here. Yes, Yusuf Chowdhury, don't be simping. You know that. You know that. Who wrote this, fam? She is the prize Mahdi. You've got to get her validation. This must be a troll. You know what? I don't want to answer this. Guys, answer in the chat, please. Put it in the comments. What do you think? I'm not going to answer this now. Class, tell me, for those of you who have been watching long enough, is she the prize? Should you be striving to get her validation? Let me know in the comments right now. Khair, inshallah, we're going to wrap this up. Jazakallah khair for joining. I'm lining up a few very interesting conversations, podcasts that we're going to be having, inshallah ta'ala, in the near future. And one of them, I hope, I'm working on it right now. He's got a significantly larger channel than mine, but I hope, inshallah, he will be happy to come on and share his experience in dealing with porn addictions, because he seems to know his stuff when it comes to porn addictions and getting off porn addictions. You know, Yusuf, shout out to you, Akhi. Thank you for the $10 super chat, my man. Did you read No More Mr. Nice Guy by Dr. Robert Glover? Great book for men. I haven't read it. I have seen a couple of interviews with Dr. Robert Glover on the Roommates podcast. I think maybe on Valuetainment. I think maybe I'm mixing up podcasts now. I've seen his podcast, and yeah, he's got some good points to make. He's still a little bit plugged in, if you like, blue pilled, quote unquote. He is still a little bit plugged in, a little bit blue pilled, but yeah, there's some gems in there from what I have seen from his podcast. But I haven't actually read his book. I should say, I haven't read his book. Simp Supreme. All right, khair, inshallah. Yallah, I'll keep you guys posted, inshallah, on the upcoming podcast to come. Jazakallah khair for joining in. Make sure you like that video on the way out and sub the channel. Jazakumullah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.